Welcome back to another week of Art History with Adam. This week we're going back in time to Africa. We're leaving Peru and going to Africa, to what is commonly now known as Nigeria. And we're going to investigate terracotta, which is a type of clay sculptures of the Nok people. And they were about 500 BCE to about 200 Common Era. And they created these wonderful heads in the round. And when I say in the round, if you turn them all the way around, they were interesting looking from all sides. You really emphasized the eyes, very peaceful eyes. And you see there's holes in the middle. Mouths that also had holes in the middle. Some people think that maybe these holes were there and things were embedded in those holes. But as a ceramicist, I think it probably led to them being successfully fired or heated up to turn to stone, because it lets the air out and you have a higher success rate. These sculptures were probably made by women, because on the continent of Africa today, ceramicists are predominantly women. So probably back then, there's a good chance that all these sculptures were made by women in the Nok culture. I want you to understand, when we go to Africa, that Africa is a huge continent. It takes up about 1/5 of all land mass on the earth. It has 54 countries in the continent of Africa. And remember, Egypt was also one of those countries. And roughly on the whole world, there's about 200 countries. So 1/5 the land mass, and it has about 25% of all the countries in the world. Crazy place. So even though we're looking at one little place in Africa, it does not represent all the place of Africa. Africa being known for animals and farming, deserts and jungles. Very diverse place. Check this out also. This is called the Apollo 11 cave stones. And they're stones that were found in 1969, which is about the same time the Apollo 11 was trying to reach the moon. And they found these stones, which are over 25,000 years old, in southwestern Africa. They were buried in a cave, and they were just charcoal on stone. But can you imagine that they survived 25,000 years? So here you go. Look at more cave drawings. Go figure. Cave drawings in Spain, France, cave drawings in Africa. For this project, you're going to need your sketchbook, a pair of scissors, glue, and some cardboard. It could just be an old cereal box. It could be an Amazon box. And maybe additional materials would be aluminum foil or newspaper or crepe paper. First thing we're going to do is, in your sketchbook, is we're going to make an oval for a head. Think about your head. That's pretty good. And cut that out. Sometimes it's easier to cut the big pieces off. This is the strongest part of your scissors. So if you're having a hard time cutting through thick cardboard, little bites, little bites. And you can shape that head. Keep your head pretty big, because it's going to be easier to get detail. The next is the eyes. So I'm going to cut some almonds for the eyes. Think about how you want your eyes. That's probably too big. It's probably good for the eye and the upper eyelid. So I'm going to copy that and cut out another one. The eyes are roughly going to be the same size. Now I'm using thick cardboard, but you could do this with thin cereal box cardboard. And I'll show you. So once I have my eyes, so as you're working, lay things out on your face. I just cut this eyebrow. You should have eyebrows. And if you like it, bring it over to your cardboard and trace it. One same there. I would flip this one. And if they seem too big, I'm just going to cut them down a little bit. Don't glue things down until the very end. The eyes, these are the eyelids, so I'm just going to cut straight across. Eyelid. Now I have my eyelids here, my eyes. I'm going to open those eyes up, and I'm going to open the mouth up. So I have my lips, curvy upper lip, and to open the mouth, all I'm going to do is cut this thing in half and cut a little V out of the bottom lip and put that mouth back together, and it'll look like it's open. The eyelids, I'm going to cut this V here, and then when I put that eyelid back on top, there's now a little hole there. And when you can see that the pupil, it really gives your head, your Nok head, more personality, like they said in that video. Look at how much just those pupils, how they change that head. So I could add a neck, and I'm going to add some hair up on top. And then cut those out. Now this would have been the head on a full terracotta figure. We know that the heads are much larger in proportion. So I'm just going to pretend that mine got broken off by putting a few shards down here. I'm a big fan of using a paintbrush, but you don't have to. You can just use the bottle. If you don't have any glue at home, you can mix some by just mixing flour and water into a paste, and then just paint that on. And when it dries, it'll glue it together. I use this cardboard, and it's brown, and it looks kind of like terracotta clay. I might choose just to keep it like this. I watered out my glue, thinned it out with some water, and I'm just going to paint the eye and around the eye. With my hands, I'm going to put it in the eye and rub it down. Get your fingernails and get those lines going underneath. I'll bring it up onto this eyebrow too. See how I'm getting that? Push it and rub the aluminum foil. This is where thick cardboard is going to jump out a lot better than if you use thinner ones. I decided to keep silver on the bottom and paper towel on the top. Watch this trick. I want to get rid of this. You can just take I'm going to take this ruler or your pair of scissors and push it in really hard, and it just cuts it right off. And then you can put that over here and do the same thing. I'm probably going to paint the background to make my head jump out a little bit. I went back in with first watercolor and then acrylic paint to bring out some of the terracotta colors of the clay body, of what those heads probably would have looked like. But it's totally fine. I lost a lot of detail by covering it with the aluminum foil, so experiment. Maybe you want to use aluminum foil or paper towel to cover it. Maybe you want to just keep it complete cardboard and glue. It's up to you. Have fun.